What is that thing you're doing?
It's technical. It's when we're a little tired. Something is different.
Good friend.
Anything different is good.
Go ahead. Your bus is leaving.
Backhouse man. I'm a scientist.
What's always a question of good? You only think about the bad.
I just have a feeling that something is wrong.
Good things do happen.
Make it Centauri time.
Hello and welcome to episode 20 of Groundhog Jungle. My name is Alex Hillman.
And I'm Matthew Fleming.
And today, do you want to say it?
No, today we're looking at Groundhog Day.
I'm very excited.
Me too.
Yes. But before, because this is a special edition, by the way, this is 40 minutes, and for the first time we're recording on a Monday and not a Friday, which feels weird and oddly businesslike. But anyway, because it's a Monday, and Mondays are serious, so this is going to be serious, because we both know and love this film.
Yeah. There's no research with the other films. I've looked stuff up.
Yeah.
I haven't needed to for this.
No, I mean, I've grown up with this film, but we'll talk about Groundhog Day for this feature-length 40-minute episode in great detail. But before that, some news, which is that we have had our first bit of interaction from the general public, who we don't know. A YouTube comment. So on Furious Roy 1 has written a comment on our Jungle Burger video. Have you read it?
No, but Furious Roy 1 clearly anticipates there being future Furious Roys.
Yes, he's certainly furious. So his comment, and I quote verbatim, was, "What the fuck is this?" That was his comment.
Intelligent criticism, isn't it?
Intelligent. He couldn't even be bothered to say what the fuck. He just put, WTF is this? No question mark. I think Furious Roy 1. So Furious Roy 1, thank you for that. You do represent the first of our fan, I suppose, interaction. So what the fuck is this? So I'll tell you what the fuck this is.
Although he should have worked it out with the previous story too.
I mean, well, this was on the Jungle Burger one, so I'm assuming he's gone to Jungle Burger first, which is good, which is well done, Roy, because that's good. That is the first episode. I think if you'd sort of taken the time, Roy, to listen to the Jungle Burger episode, we're pretty self-explanatory. I think we, in fact, because Jungle Burger is so shit, I think we spend at least the first 10 minutes of that very first episode introducing indeed what the fuck it is. And so Roy, I did actually take the time to reply to you in person on the YouTube video itself. I hope you were excited at the prospect of being replied to by the verified account of Groundhog Jungle, in which I explain that we are analysing and critiquing all the Bill Murray films. But Roy, Furious Roy,
yes, because I was going to say his name. I mean, we're not in the 1900s. Call him Furious. That's his first name.
Furious, or Mr. Roy.
Mr. Roy.
Or maybe Mr.
Sir.
One with Roy as your middle name. I don't know. So the fuck this is a series of... Well, this is episode 20 in a series of podcasts in which we analyse, hopefully humorously, the Bill Murray films. I mean, perhaps you may disagree.
Yeah.
I don't know. In any case, you appear to have liked the video. So maybe you wrote the comment first and then liked it. I don't know. But anyway...
Or do you think what the fuck is this is maybe what young people are saying now for it's cool?
Is it?
What the fuck is this?
Maybe, I hope so.
I mean,
but,
that's a stereotypical black man's voice, which I shouldn't have attempted.
No, and he may be black. I mean, if he is, then that's fine.
Yeah. Some Roys are black and some Roys are not black.
Yeah. Roy Wood wasn't black.
No.
And isn't black.
No. And for many years, I thought Roy Wood was a paedophile based on... He's not. Based on the video where he leers.
Yeah,
He goes, come on, kids, take it.
ELO, isn't he?
Sorry?
Isn't he part of ELO?
He did work with Jeff Lynne, yeah.
My dad saw ELO recently.
Oh,
anyway,
cool.
They were great, apparently. That's irrelevant.
But thanks,
Regardless,
Roy.
Thank you, Roy. I don't know how to take your comment other than perhaps to assume that you are a big fan and that you're working your way through the podcast at the moment. I hope this holla at yo is appreciated, and we do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Roy. We shouldn't assume that just because your comment sounds angry and your name is Furious Roy, that you are furious. Because once I had a student whose surname was Keane, and it was really bloody hard to write a report because I couldn't say Keane. So I said...
Keane as in the band?
No, K-E-E-N, spelt the
drug addict band, or Keane as in K.
Saw Tom Chaplin at Hyde Park. He was brilliant.
Yeah, well, he's not a drug addict anymore.
No,
and hasn't been for about 10 years.
Yeah,
but he used to be.
He did. He was addicted to stuff. I thought it was wine though. I thought it was port. that you got addicted to?
I think it was both, wasn't it?
It might have been a lot of things.
I've had port from Porto, which is why it's
You're
called
going to say from Tom Chaplin.
No.
And he gave it to you with a reluctant sigh and said, I don't know why I'm giving you this. I can't have it anymore. I'm an alcoholic. So Groundhog Day.
Yeah. So we've spent 5 minutes of this talking about Furious Roy 1. Furious Roy 1.
Thanks,
I hope
Furious
you
Roy.
appreciate the remaining 35 minutes. So Groundhog Day. Groundhog Day will lay out now is a perfect film.
It's a perfect film.
We gave it 10 apiece.
Yeah.
And it deserves a 10. It is probably, if someone held a gun to my head and asked me to name my favourite film of all time, I think I'd probably say Groundhog Day. I love it even more than Ghostbusters, which is saying something.
It's more of a perfect film than Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I can't find any. If you asked me to find something wrong with Ghostbusters, I probably could if I thought about it long and hard enough. I'm not sure there is anything to find fault with Groundhog Day.
I agree, and I think I first enjoyed it. Probably I was about 10 when I first watched it, so it wouldn't have been. It wasn't that old at that point. I think did it come out in 93?
Yeah, 93.
93. Yeah. So it would have been out for 3 years, and I probably watched it on video. And I think my dad might have bought it, or we might have checked it out on TV. I think it was probably premiering on TV when I first watched it, and. I mean, who doesn't know the premise of Groundhog Day? It's obviously Harold Ramis's best effort in terms of directing.
Yes,
and
because I don't think he was necessarily the best director ever. If you look at things like Year One and Multiplicity,
and all the various things he was involved with, such as Caddyshack and Meatballs.
He did some good work. The Groundhog Day, though, is far and above the best thing.
I mean, it's the perfect fusion of cast, of writing,
of comedy
of
and romance, those two genres.
It's both funny and sad and touching, and yet it's never mawkish. It's never too sad either. Although I must admit, it makes me cry watching it because of the desperation involved in certain scenes in the film. It's got Brian Doyle Murray in it again in what I think is his best role.
Yes,
and Bill Murray, for me, probably his best performance that I've seen. I know there are all sorts of performances that Bill Murray's put in that have been fantastic, but this for me is him at his most perfect best. He just performs it perfectly.
He's brilliant. For me, it's topped by one film only, which we'll get to, although I can tell you now. Or do you think you can guess one of me?
Is it Mad Dog and Glory?
No, for me it's Lost in Translation.
For me,
that performance is peerless. But it's not that anything's wrong with this, of course, because it is amazing. Is it my favorite? I've got too many favourite films. I'd have to subcategorise them.
Yes, and it wouldn't be my favourite film in every single category.
No, it's not my favourite film of the
category.
90s because Scream. I love Scream more than I love most members of my family.
That's also great.
But again, like Roger Ebert said, define it by genre. Is this the best comedy romance I've ever seen? Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think for me, what defines it
is it the best time travel film? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it the best?
And that's got a lot of good competition as well.
Yeah.
For me, what defines this film is the concept, which I think is genius. Now, interestingly, along with The Truman Show and Ed TV, I thought of this idea for a film before it was made.
Did you?
But of course, I was.
You'd have been very young.
Yeah, I was yes, but I remember it's quite a simple concept.
Yeah,
isn't it?
I suppose so.
The idea of a day being stuck in a loop. They never explain why it's stuck in a loop.
No,
they don't need to. The concept is a beautiful concept, and the story is elicited through the concept.
Yeah,
and who'd have thought that from something that could go very gimmicky, especially in the hands, bless him, of Harold Ramis, who wasn't necessarily the most respected director in the world, it becomes extremely profound.
Yeah.
And you see someone, you see every aspect of a repeated day having an effect on the central character, and you feel immense love for that central character. I think that you really, really... like him, even when he's being a total arse, even when he's trying to basically seduce someone through nefarious means.
Yeah.
You really like him, and you can't help it.
Yeah, because that part of it is very sort of like anti #MeToo, isn't it?
Yes.
It's very sort of against it.
I'd love to see the film as a woman. I'd love to see the film with a woman as the central character.
Yes. Well, have you seen Happy Death Day?
No, I really wanted to, but my partner doesn't like that sort of thing. So we didn't go and see it in the cinema, and I haven't had the time to see it separately. Yeah. But I really would love to.
Again,
there's going to be a new one of those.
Yes, Happy Death Day 2. No, it's Happy Death Day 2U, which is clever.
Yes, it's clever, yeah.
Basically, there's a lot of films now. I think you know that you've made it as a film if everyone then refers to subsequent films as so-and-so on a or so-and-so with a. Like Die Hard. Die Hard is the quintessential action film, so everyone says Die Hard on a boat, Die Hard on a plane, Die Hard on a whatever.
Yes.
So Groundhog Day, there's been Happy Death Day too. What was the other one the other day I was thinking of? There's another film that's exactly the same as Groundhog Day.
1201.
Okay, I didn't know about that, but there was what was I watching the other day? I was thinking about the other. There's been quite a few films like this. That's like here's the horror movie.
Live,
version
Die,
of this.
Repeat. I forgot.
Oh, that's it. Edge of Tomorrow.
Yes,
yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah. So there's the
which is
sci-fi.
also good. Have you seen that?
No, but I'm going to this week because it's on TV.
It's great.
So there's
When's
a
it on
sci-fi.
TV?
I don't know, but
I
I
need
saw
to
it
check
in
that
the
out
Radio
because it's
Times.
fantastic, that film.
And I know I'd love it because it's
Yeah.
Tom Cruise and it's the same day repeating of those two things I love.
There's also a film that came out roughly the same sort of time as Groundhog Day called 1201, which interestingly has got someone... Right, so I can't remember his name, but it's got the main guy. Do you remember in series 1 of Friends?
Yes.
Jennifer Aniston, I think, dates a gynecologist.
Yeah.
He plays the main character in it.
What, Barry?
1201. No.
Oh,
hang
no,
on.
he's not a gynecologist.
No, he's not a gynecologist.
dentist,
He's a dentist. So there's a date with a gynecologist. He's the guy who says to her, you know when you see something all day, every day, you just get put off by it. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? So he's the main guy in it. But Jeremy Piven is also in it as his best friend.
Oh, Jeremy Piven, of course, has Bill Murray form, which we'll get to.
Yes, he does. But anyway,
Or will have done.
But Jeremy Piven's in it, and it's weird because Jeremy Piven doesn't look any different then as to how he looks now. He doesn't seem to age. But anyway,
that's weird,
he's in
isn't
it as well as his best friend. The premise is that it's a thriller. And he witnesses a murder, but then his day keeps repeating. But in this film, they give an explanation as to why his day keeps repeating, and it becomes a bit of a sci-fi, which I find much less interesting, although it's a really fantastic film. And basically every day he's attempting to uncover more and more about the murder.
Right.
And it's kind of also like a bit of a mystery as well, and a bit of a whodunit. But it's really clever. There's some funny bits in it, much darker though than Groundhog Day.
Although Groundhog
people
Day
die in it.
Although Groundhog Day is dark.
Very dark in places, but even the darkness in Groundhog Day is touched with some humour. Even the very darkest bits, I think, are touched with humour, apart from one notable exception.
His suicide?
There's one of the suicides, specifically the one where you see his dead body.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a slight philosophical or literal query, I suppose, about why it is there's a scene. We're not bothering to explain the story, by the way, because I'm assuming that
everyone knows. Yeah.
So you'll all know, I think, which scene.
He's
I'm
a
referring
weatherman.
to.
The day repeats. It's great.
Yeah,
you know this.
it's beautifully touched with the most excellent comic performances and pathos that I've ever seen in a film. Anyway, so there's a bit, isn't there, where they uncover his corpse.
Yeah.
Having jumped himself, he's jumped off.
Is that the one for the clock tower?
Yeah.
There is. Yeah.
Now, how is that possible? Because I thought his day repeated as soon as he died, or is it that his dead body lies for the rest of the day until midnight, and then the day restarts?
I think he's in two places at once. I think the universe then, I think something then happens, he then splits off, he then immediately starts, in the same way as if you believe in past lives. You know, you would then become the new person.
Well, then surely that throws up the almost theological discussion of whether or not each separate day he has succeeds in a parallel universe. So you've got thousands of different strands of his life.
I think it probably does. That's my interpretation.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway,
what about your... Okay, so when I was at school, I would watch... Obviously, you watched this regularly when you were a kid, or we did, anyway.
Oh, yeah.
And it comes up.
I watched it with my dad.
Yeah.
He loves this film as
Sometimes it was like the big sort of ITV movie of that week or whatever, and kids in the school would talk about it. And I remember kids saying, this would be a pretty cool thing to happen. They'd love this to happen. And even then I was thinking, no. So I'd like to illustrate this point with 3 short stories.
Okay, but before you do, I think you've hit upon the fact that it appeals to children because of the concept.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a simple childlike concept, yeah.
Anyway, please.
Okay, so 3 very quick stories. So first of all, today I was at a literature conference in London.
Right.
I got the 1 minute...
Whereabouts in London?
In
central London?
I had to go to Warren Street Tube Station, and then it was right outside there, so I'm not sure where that is.
No, nor am I.
No, I'm at Tottenham Court Road.
Oh, so central London.
So central London. Yeah, because we're in zone 1, yeah. You don't really pay attention when you're just following a tube map.
No.
So I had 1 minute to spare. Like, it started at 10. I got there at 9:59, and she said, "That's all right. We'll start in 1 minute. You're gonna just go and get yourself some refreshments from the side. Go and get yourself a coffee or whatever." So I went to the side, and as I started doing that, she went, "Okay, right, we'll start in 30 seconds, people." I thought, right, so the time is ticking. I'll get a green tea.
Yes.
So I've got my tea bag, but there isn't going to be time really to put the tea bag in and pour the water in. I'll take the tea bag. I'll go and dunk it in over there. I'll get the water first. So it took about.
I think I know where this is going.
It took about 10 seconds to ascertain which was the hot water jugs, because there was milk, there was, I don't know, Bratislavian honey or something, and some of the others. And one of them had,
In a jug.
No, I don't know what it was. But I just knew it wasn't
tip
hot
it over
water.
and then it
It
takes
didn't
half an
fit-
hour to come out.
It didn't fit into the code I'd assigned hot water,
Yes.
so I moved on. There were 3 jugs labelled hot water, so I tipped one into the cup, just a few droplets. Damn. Go to the second one, just a few droplets again, not much water. Third one, a little bit more, but still not much, and that one was empty. She's starting now. Right, so welcome to... Okay, so I've got to rush over to the table.
Yes.
I get to the table. There are drinks already on the table. There are loads of water and stuff, and I just wanted a drink. That's all I wanted. So in order to drink this sparkling water, I've got to empty my cup. Where do I empty my cup? So I have to drink this hot, tasteless water and just have it swirling around in my mouth, which was obviously, and then, of course, she's like, "Can you introduce yourself?" And, I was the first there. So that was
Sorry,
one thing.
Take the tea out of your mouth and explain who you are. Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually, my name is Walter
Yes.
Yeah.
I just thought you had tea in your mouth.
I've got I'll come back to that story in a minute because it's all relevant. I'm building a picture. Second story. On the way back, just before I met you, I went to the co-op to pick up some cheese. Some cheese for my son's lunch tomorrow.
Lovely.
Yeah.
What type?
Edam, sliced Edam. Going to put it in
nice.
between 2 slices of bread, as is the traditional way. And
Butter?
Yes, put some butter in there, but lightly spread. The lady in the co-op, I got there and she just looked at me and huffed for a little bit, and I was like, I didn't say, "Are you going to do something?" But she just sort of tapped, and I thought, okay, she's waiting for it to log on or something like that. After about a minute, this guy turns up with 2 jugs of milk. Not jugs, pints. And she goes, "Oh, okay." And she deals with him really huffily and stuff. And okay, so he was in the queue. He went off to get something
Right,
else
yeah,
or something
yeah,
like that. I get what's happened. And so I thought, oh, okay, I've got to brace yourself for a really awkward conversation here. So she then turned to me and she was all smiles and she was really sunny, and I was thrown by that. And then I'd just given her a look as if to say, she just sort of raised her eyebrows at me, and as if to say, "Oh gosh, he couldn't even get the right milk." So I raised my eyebrows as if to say, "I know, right? I totally agree with you here." Anyway, so as I was walking away, there was another woman behind me. Another woman? Oh yeah, another woman, that makes sense. And she, this woman, again, greeted her all smiles. And I'm now thinking, as I'm walking away, that as the first guy was black and the other 2 people weren't, that this woman is just racist and was making some sort of racist commentary, which I've then agreed with by raising my eyebrows. She's been saying to me, "Black people, right?" And I've been going, "Yeah, I know, right?" So those are my first 2 stories.
Right.
And then I've got one further.
What was what was the situation?
I don't know.
Oh, God.
I have no idea. And
You don't know why she raised her eyebrows?
No.
Oh, I thought it was going to be because he turned out to be I don't know.
Well,
okay.
Here's my point. There are ways of finding out. And my third story is one I was going to tell you last week, which is I'd just come back last week on Thursday, I think, from buying a cake for my son because he's doing well with his toilet training. We said we'd buy you a cake.
Lovely.
So we did. I went over to Marks and Spencer's and I heard a boy singing the first few bars of "Take On Me" by Aha, and his mum telling him off in a very angry way. And that doesn't sound like much until I tell you it sounded like this. Right. So those are my 3 stories. Now, for those people who say they would be happy with their day repeating over and over again, I say to you this: how much of that day can you control and how much of that day can you change? The first 2 examples, for example, if they were to happen again, I just get to the conference earlier. I take the earlier tube.
Yes.
Or I come with my own drink, and I know there's no hot water in the jug. So day 2, that day happens, I just don't go to the jug. I instantly learn.
Well, day 2 would be an improvement, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose it would.
Once you've got over the fact that your day was repeating.
Yeah, it depends how quickly I adjusted to that, because I did look in the mirror this morning and wonder who I was. But if I realise it quickly, then yes. The second one, I would run a little bit on the way home. I would get there first, see what her deal with this guy was, and then know how to interact with her. So easily done. I'm not sure I could hear that mic thing over and over. I think it really tickled me the first time, and I just keep doing it in my head over and over. I love the sound of it. I love the cheerful. He was 8, this boy, about 8. Love the cheerful sort of like, I don't expect an 8-year-old to be singing an 80s song, but why not? Like the cheerful optimism with which he was singing it, and then the overreaction with her Slipknot-induced voice of telling him off. Like, what was he doing wrong? I don't know. Does she just hate Aha? Who knows? But
was that her doing the low noise?
Yeah, she was telling him off and saying,
yeah.
Mike. So, what would I do? That was really funny the first time. It would be funny a couple more times. It would probably make me laugh for about 5 or 6 times if it kept happening. After a while, I'd get irritated at parenting. I'd want to intervene.
Yeah,
if
I suppose you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I mean,
I probably would
intervene because
Yeah.
I'd want to see what would happen.
Yeah,
and I think that's
I'd get there early and I'd say, "Hey, Mike, why don't you
Yeah.
sing me an 80s
But I
joke?" I'd
think-
mess around with the concept.
But I think that's how I would spend my life. Every day, because nothing would have any consequence, I'd do something different.
Yeah.
So
Would you
I
kill somebody? Because he doesn't kill anyone apart from the people
No, I
he
wouldn't
does
kill
sort of kill people, doesn't he? Because they're those guys in the car.
I've got no desire to kill anyone, so
No.
I wouldn't do it.
No, but that's one of the things it throws up. And again, you said this film isn't as dark as it could be. And
No,
that's something that
okay,
we're invited to consider.
So,
I
but
think.
no, I wouldn't. I would probably ring in, if it was a weekday, I'd ring in sick every day for work. I might occasionally treat myself to a day at work by just going
Yeah.
nuts and swearing at children or something.
Yeah.
And just to see what would happen. I'd probably spend most of my time travelling.
But you wouldn't be able to get too far.
But I'd also take Jude places and stuff like that.
Yeah?
Yeah, but it wouldn't matter, would it? I wouldn't be able to go. I wouldn't ever be able to see Australia, for example.
No.
Assuming it was, but I
That's
might be able to
true.
book a last minute trip to New York and
Yeah.
go there at midnight and get there for 7 a.m. or something and spend the day there and then go and find myself back in bed. And
So one thing that they don't explore with is if the day resets every time he goes to sleep. It's not necessarily at 12 o'clock, is it? Or is it? Because he falls asleep and then wakes up.
No, it's 6, isn't it?
Yeah, but so that's when his alarm goes off.
But isn't
And
that when the day resets?
I suppose.
Because if he
And
stayed
when is
awake, it would have to reset at some point.
Yeah, that's when they don't experiment with that, do they? With him
No.
staying awake and sort of seeing.
I think
at
it
what point.
resets at 6.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really make sense.
No.
Because obviously 6 hours of that is a different day.
Yeah,
It's a new day.
because if you're going to go really dark, wait in a hotel room with a piece of glass at 5:59. Slit the throat of someone or yourself even, and see what happens at 6. Will it just seal itself up?
I think you wouldn't be aware of the change. I think you just find yourself in bed.
Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it? It does. There have been books written about this. The science of it and stuff is fascinating.
It is fascinating.
And it's a comedy. How often do you think about the science of a comedy? When you saw Hot Tub Time Machine, did you think, oh, I don't know, could this happen? Or did you think, hey, it's Chevy Chase?
I'm not sure I thought any of those things because I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay. It's not too good. No. I bought it on a birthday once. I think Russ came round. Oh, I need to mention Russ in a minute.
Oh, okay.
Because I sent a text to Russ saying, have you got anything about Groundhog Day you would like to say? And he sent me a message saying...
Is he listening to these, by the way?
I told him to listen to this one. I don't know if he's listened to them.
Yeah.
Hi, Russ. He sent me a message saying, I fucking love it. I watch it every February the 2nd, which I know to be the truth. It's a peach of a flick. There you go. And it is. It is a peach of a flick.
Now,
Thanks, Russ.
for anyone who doesn't know Russ, which is all of you.
Yeah. Although Furious Roy 1 could well be.
Well, yeah, but...
maybe that is Russ.
Maybe. Although I can't really imagine him saying, what the fuck is this? Because the point I was about to make is that text is exactly how Russ speaks in real
Yes.
life.
It's good, isn't it? It's reassuring, actually, sometimes. when you see
Reassuring.
that.
He speaks like a cheerful middle-aged man from a 1950s movie.
Yeah. And
that's not an insult.
No, and how you'd want to be spoke to, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
Not
He's
many
a cheerful
people
chap.
Not many people, and of course you're eternally grateful to him for being with you that time that man was all weird.
Yeah,
in
so
Tesco.
I'm not brilliant. Well, it totally depends on the situation. So probably the most scared I've ever been is is this guy that I was walking with Russ away from something we were all doing, and this guy basically was really bothering us on a dark alley with nowhere really around. And I remember Russ was really reassuring.
Yeah.
And we went into like a Tesco, and the guy just left. But I was a bit of a wimp, I must say. But I'm perfectly great in other situations, just not situations like that where I just can't predict what's going to happen. Anyway,
So if that day was going to repeat and stuff, you'd evolve with strategy. That's what
well,
this film.
I wouldn't walk that way. I don't even know why I was walking anyway, to be honest.
No, you wouldn't walk that way. That's true. You would quickly evolve. But one of the things that's so fascinating about Phil Connor's journey is how resistant he is to the sort of change we want to see from a character. First of all,
yes,
he doesn't react in the way that we would. He does try all the options and he does have fun with it. But it's brilliant. I mean, because he's living. How many do they estimate? Thousands, millions of times that he's lived this life.
I think sort of in the 10,000s, I think, of the day, and I sort of can see that as being the case. The evidence stacks up. Yes, you're right. He has lots and lots of fun.
You say in your review, I think, don't you? Do you say roughly?
Yeah, I think I tried to calculate it. Yeah. I think I added in the amount of days you'd need to be an expert at piano and ice sculpture.
Yes,
it is among the sort of the 10,000 5-digit. Area.
So every couple of thousand of those, he's gaining a new characteristic.
And
he's learning something.
Yeah, and I think I worked that out to be 30 odd years or whatever of doing that. I mean, yeah, it would be. It would take you like 30 years to be that good on the piano, and I think I researched some site or something which did the maths for me. But the thing is, there is so many facets to this film which are entertaining. The concept is what grabbed me in as a child, and I love this film. I think the genesis of me loving this film came from watching it as a child and loving it then, and I love it even more now. I loved the concept. I always loved films that had a sort of high sort of concept like that. It's a really good concept, but I really liked the neatness of it as well. I like every small story in it. I like the greeting of the portly man on the top of the landing of the stairs. I loved the conversation with Phil and the landlady of the hotel. Yeah,
that's great.
Who is brilliant and has been in loads of things. She's always playing like a dotty old lady in American films from the 90s and noughties. I love all of that. I love how dark that is. And how incredibly humorous and dry it is as well.
We haven't mentioned Ned Ryerson.
No, we haven't, no.
Stanley Toplowski, I think, is his name, isn't it?
Stephen Toplowski.
Damn.
And he's been in loads of stuff.
He's a pretty prolific actor. I'm just going to go see what that phone is.
But, all the sort of separate moments of the film like that are just fascinating, entertaining and funny. And you do go through all sorts of different stages in the film when you watch the film. At first he's enjoying it. I know at first it's disbelief actually, and then it's acceptance, and he's enjoying it. And then after a while he goes into a very deep and very thorough depression. And I like to think that he's probably is depressed in this film for what equates to probably years. He's probably depressed for years. Attempts to kill himself over and over again. And Matt and I, and this is like a little extra, I suppose, to this project, went to see the musical 2 years ago in London. It starred Carl. What's his name?
I want to say Andy Carl.
Andy Carl, who had previously done Legally Blonde on Broadway, and he played Phil Connors very well. And they go down a darker route. And so Danny Rubin, who wrote the film, also wrote the script for the musical, and obviously the New Zealand composer Tim Minchin wrote the music for it. And the suicide aspect of the film is dealt with very darkly and very effectively in the stage version. And there's a song, that is at that point in the show, which is one of my favourite songs, where lots of different cast members are acting out all sorts of different suicide. And if the musicals has run and ended in Broadway very quickly, had a very short run in Broadway. I would not be surprised if there's one of two things they'll do with it. I think, to be honest, its life in America won't come back. I think UK theatre audiences tend to be more forgiving and tend to want things like that more. So I think it'll do one of two things. It'll either be licensed to amateurs. If that happens, I will be in it in some sort of capacity because I love the show. Or it will get a proper run in the West End. One of those things I think will happen. And if it does, I urge you to go and see it because it is brilliant.
Yeah, that scene particularly when he's like killing himself with a razor or something in the shower at the same time as he's coming on stage, and they're not all him, but it's done so well.
It's done with doubles.
And
there's some incredible lighting effects as well, which I think are a combination of doubles very clever staging, and also they use a technique where they blind the audience with lights. So they blind you so that your vision is you are basically temporarily blinded with bright lights, and then they do a lot of the move arounds then. But there are days repeating, much like the flash cuts in the film, with people moving from the same place on stage that have just 2 seconds of blackout in between them. The technical rehearsal for the show must have been a nightmare.
Have we got time to briefly talk about what happened when we went to see Groundhog Day?
Yes.
Okay, here's what happened. So you and I, as you know this, but
So I
they
think
didn't.
if you tell the first half of the story, and I'll tell the second half of the story.
So
'Cause I want to tell some of this.
Okay,
story.
good. So we went on the coach together. You were kind enough to buy me for my birthday tickets to go and see it in when I think it had not the limited run, but it was the workshop. What's it called? The
tryout,
something like that.
It is a workshop as well.
Yeah, we went to see it at the Old Vic.
Yeah.
So first of all,
previews.
Previews. That's the word. I knew I had a pre in it somewhere. So we went down on the train together. It was a really sort of fun journey.
We went on the bus, didn't we? Or did we get the bus back?
We got the bus back.
But the train there.
We got the train there, yeah. First of all, we scoped out the Old Vic to see where it is, because we hadn't been there before, so we just wanted to make sure we knew where it was. And then we decided to do a couple of touristy things, because we had time. So we went to the National Gallery, I think it was we went.
Yep.
First of all, before that, we'd had a breakfast. We'd had a breakfast in the... I'm not sure what the place is called, I don't want to say.
It's in Waterloo Station.
Yes, so it's like a sort of pub. Yeah.
It's the underground pub in Waterloo Station.
Which I'm sure is great, but I'll come back to that. We were in the National Gallery, and you said to me, "Do you mind if I just sit down on this bench, because I want to look at this picture? That's who I am, and I'm an artistic person. I love looking at pictures." And I said, "Yes, I'd love to do that too, because I also am an artistic person." It's true I am, but that's not why I wanted to sit down. I wanted to sit down because I was feeling fucking sick as a dog. And I was hoping it would pass, because at some point when we passed through the gift shop, I'd started to feel really quite unwell. And so we went for dinner, and I didn't fancy very much. I had mango juice and a small side of something, but that's unlike me, because especially when going out to places like London, I like to eat big, and that did not happen here, and I thought that's a bit odd. But then we got into the Old Vic, of course, and we sat down. We were in the middle of the row, which is significant.
When do you want me to take over?
Well, you could take over now if you want.
Okay, so just a little side note. At this same performance was my good friend. John
I was going to mention him,
and his lovely wife,
who I've still never met.
And they were sat back from us. So I was completely unaware of Matt's feeling sick. I'm not very aware of this sort of thing anyway, but he decided to just not tell me. Just all I would say to you is bear in mind mango juice. And we sat down to watch this stage show. It starts brilliantly. There's like a kind of a crescendo of orchestral sort of music at the beginning that just goes dum 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 dum. And I sort of sat there, legs crossed, thinking this is going to be great.
And at that point, it was turning into a sort of I can feel something coming up, but I'm just going to swallow it back down. Yeah, carry on.
Obviously, me unaware. And then we watched the sort of probably the first 20 minutes of the show. And we got to the end of the first day, and I believe we got to the beginning of the first repeat of the day, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so we were going through the whole sequence. Now, this is one of the better parts of the show, sadly. And we got to the section where he's... I think reprising his same song for the third time, and suddenly I was sat there and I thought, that's weird. I felt what I thought was water hit me on the leg and arm, and I looked up and thought there was some sort of awful leak, or possibly some moisture from the air conditioning system. Turned around and saw Matt lavishly wiping his mouth with his arm, and I thought, what the hell's going on? He turned to me and with a gasp just said, "I've just been sick." just like that. It had that tone. Now, Matt, I love Matt, but subtlety is not his thing.
Well, not in that situation.
No. So everything smelt suddenly and alarmingly of mango, and I thought, that's a strange smell and
there
sensation.
There were worse smells, though, aren't there?
And I looked down to see that his top was smeared in mango sick.
Which unfortunately was a black top with very little picture.
Now, he then went out of the auditorium in order to clean himself up.
I would like to tell this story now. I'd just like to pick up. So, bearing in mind we're in the middle of the row, And what happens then is, of course, I hear 20 frustrated mutterings of, for fuck's sake, for fuck's sake, for fuck's sake, as because people didn't know why I was getting up, although how they could not smell the mango stick, I don't know. I got to the end of the road.
They might have smelt mango, but you wouldn't have known it was sick unless
No.
they'd heard you say, I've just been sick.
I hope it didn't drip down on any of them. Anyway, I got to the toilets. I started to sort of muck myself up. Thought it was a bit weird that a woman came in to the man's toilets. And then, of course, afterwards, when I went out, realised I'd gone to the woman's toilets because I was so disorientated. Came back in to see the rest of it.
Came back in. Right, this is one of the most embarrassing things I've ever witnessed. So I was sat in the audience, no offence, I was sat in the audience. Matt went past where we were sat.
I got lost.
And went up to the stage.
I have bits of sick on my glasses.
Went up to the stage and turned round in order to look. He could not have been clearer to the audience unless he'd actually gone up on stage and started interacting with the actors. It was so obvious. I, who gets embarrassed easily, had to wave my arm in the air with someone saying, literally next to me, sat down in the audience going, shh, stop it. Someone actually told me to stop it like that. I almost had to shout out, Matt, like that. Eventually you saw me. You sort of bustled your way back into the place. Amongst, for fuck's sake, fucking hell, fuck like that. Sat down. I mean, JP must have seen everything.
Yeah.
And then we sat down and enjoyed the rest of the show. You rejoined it at the Holistic Cure song, which was a really good song.
It's a good song.
And I think you missed not a huge amount. But it felt significant at the time.
But I did leave at the
minutes.
interval because I wanted to buy a new T-shirt.
Right.
So I was running around all of London trying to find a T-shirt shop. Let me tell you, in case you want to know, if there is a T-shirt shop in a 15-minute radius of the Old Vic, there really fucking bloody isn't. There just is not one.
I find it hard to believe there wasn't a Boots or something like that.
No, there wasn't anything, not even a souvenir one. There just wasn't.
The upshot was that he had to sit down, watch this entire second act of Groundhog
Felt
Day.
a bit better in the second act, you know?
And the second act is better than the first, I must say. Sat in his own sick.
Yeah.
And then we didn't have time to get a T-shirt on the way home because we had to get a specific bus, so he sat in a bus in his own sick.
No, the windows weren't open. It was disgusting.
Yeah.
Bill Murray has seen Groundhog Day twice, which is hilarious. Yes.
Yeah.
He deliberately made a point of going to see it 2 nights in a row when it opened in America, which is hilarious.
Yes.
What a great joke.
I know, yeah.
And the guy is amazing. We've only got a few minutes because of that sick story. A few things I want to run through quickly. Andy McDowell is in this, and she is brilliant. I briefly met Andy McDowell, sort of, once. Do you know the 3 words that Andy McDowell said to me? Can you guess them?
Hi there, chap.
She said, for fuck's sake. Because we were with a bunch of friends several years ago. Actually, possibly just around the time I met you.
You seem to elicit anger.
No, it wasn't me. This wasn't me. I was just near it. So she said it towards me, but she meant the whole group, but it wasn't me. We were with a couple of friends, and one of those friends said, look, it's Andy McDowell, because she was filming that week, and she was taking a break from filming. We managed to research on the internet because she was just hanging out with her daughter. Certainly looked like a daughter anyway. And someone went, look, it's Andy McDowell. And she looked up and saw that it was, annoying fans, and said, oh, for fuck's sake, loudly. So the only 3 words Andy McDowell has said in my presence physically are those words.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, so Groundhog Day and the phrase for fuck's sake they're entwined for me, aren't they? But she is great in this, and actually so is everyone. We can't name check all the brilliant actors and actresses.
No, but I mean, you've got Andy McDowell, who's brilliant. It's her best performance, I think. Chris Elliott. Yeah, he's absolutely fantastic in this, and plays an almost thankless role.
Yeah.
It's worth saying, in the musical adaptation, they flesh out his role and also...
and give him a happier ending? No, the same ending, but slightly different? Yeah.
No, it is happier. Yeah. Much happier.
Yeah.
And also the girl whose name escapes me, who is Phil's first fling in the film.
Nancy.
And they give them both songs, and their relationship is really beautiful in the musical, actually. But this isn't really about the musical, it's about the film.
Yes.
And it's just a brilliant film. It is peerless, it is perfect, there is no film like it. Every single performance, every single line in it is absolutely just a gem. There is not one flaw in this film.
No.
It's the perfect length, it's funny, it's sad, it touches you.
And ironically, it bears repeating.
Yes.
Because
because there's always something you never noticed before.
Yeah. Like that scene with Harold Ramis.
Yes.
When he's,
As his
sort of
physician, doctor, something like that.
Because I the first time I watched that, I didn't realise how the narrative needed that. And
Yeah.
now when I go back to it, I go, oh, of course.
Yes, it
of
does.
Of course he would go there.
And then obviously he goes to see a therapist as well,
Yeah.
and it's confirmed that there's nothing he can do about this.
Yeah.
And at times it feels like a really desperate film. Like you really, really feel very sorry for Phil Connors. What more is there to say? It's been covered quite a lot. It's always on. If you've never seen it before, firstly, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast, but secondly, I urge you to see it because it speaks to everyone, I think.
It'll calm you down, Furious Roy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Furious Roy, you need some...
Yeah, you just do. I mean,
Groundhog Day therapy.
Yeah, some grounding in Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
You do. It's a phrase now. I mean, isn't that?
It's entered the lexicon.
Yes,
yeah.
And it's
an
Eminem song. It's not a good Eminem song, but it's an Eminem song.
I hadn't heard of Groundhog Day before Groundhog Day came along. I mean,
No.
it does seem to be a very small town America localized thing. And it's out there, and I think most
That's
people...
one of the most
still-
extraordinary things to process.
Yeah. I know, yeah.
That this actually is real.
This film has made this holiday famous. The holiday existed before the film, but the film has actually promoted this holiday.
And it'll probably never go away now.
No.
Not that it ever could have done.
No.
But
the other thing about this film, of course, is that it does, and I haven't really had time to sort of say this, but it has a kind of classic quality about it. You could have imagined it being made in the 40s.
that's exactly what I was going to say. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, that's
rather
brilliant.
like It's a Wonderful Life.
In the
and that
40s,
sort of
it would have been James Stewart in this role.
Yes.
Now it would just be whoever the
Yeah.
everyman is now, someone like Chris Pratt or something like that.
Yeah, although he couldn't do... I love Chris Pratt, but he couldn't do the same job on this film that Bill Murray does.
No. Well, and no one can. It's
No.
it's one of the reasons we've done this project.
Yeah.
This project would be so much richer without a Groundhog Day in it. And we'd promote other things to it. We'd promote Lost in Translation or the Royal Tenenbaums to be as strong, and they are very strong, but we'd promote them to be the classic of Bill Murray's canon. His career didn't need Groundhog Day, but my gosh, it's benefited from it.
Yeah.
And you note that whenever he gives interviews and stuff, of course, he's always been a bit sniffy about things like Ghostbusters, but I've never heard him be sniffy about Groundhog Day.
I think he knows it's his... lots of people consider it to be his best performance. He knows it's one of his best. Certainly, in my opinion, his best, and yours up there. You know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, as you said, we gave it 10 out of 10.
Yeah,
there's
it's
no other
fabulous.
grade for it.
See it if you haven't seen it. This does represent for me the very pinnacle of his work. He hasn't bettered this yet, so I absolutely adore this film.
Yeah, me too. It's perfect.
And that marks the end of this run of podcasts.
We'll be back after the holiday season.
Yes, so have a very Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Bye.
Bye.